Hello, hello. Happy Tuesday. Let me just get the live notification here. Back again, live on Twitch and YouTube. All right. Oh, they faked me out. I thought the song was over. All right, let's play something else. All right, live stream notification. Here I am. One of my lights is broken, so this is not the best. I would have preferred if the other one was the one that was working, but if I can only have one. Stupid things. I'll try to figure that out before tomorrow. Yeah. Happy Tuesday. Everyone had a good weekend. I'm gonna break everyone's heart and say that we're still kind of working on the cutaway system today. We're gonna finish it. We're gonna finish it this week. It is gonna be done, and then we're gonna never touch it again for some amount of time. Got a little coffee left, which at this hour is unusual. I made a second cup of coffee today. It's very exciting. All right, so I want to try something else a little bit with the cutaway system. We're going to do kind of a mixed process. Try something a bit mixed. I'm not sure if I want to do it the naive way or the more complex way. I'm tempted to stop with this whole every block knows what room it's in kind of thing, because it requires the imposition of a limit on how many compartments a ship can have. And I don't want to introduce that if I can achieve the same result with a different system. So what I think I'm going to do is each compartment is essentially going to be assigned an axis-aligned bounding box. The problem with that is a bounding box might not actually describe accurately the space. Yeah, I'm a little torn. I'm going to be honest. I'm a little torn on this one. I might leave in place the system we have now as far as the bit field that describes the compartments that a block belongs to, just for expediency. And then what I want to do is I want to keep the mask that we generate, which is like this mask over the bottom layer of the compartment that we're clicking in, that we're mousing over, and the compartments immediately in front of it. But then, I don't know. Should we optimize for the fact that most rooms are rectangles? Would that be just reasonable to do? I feel like the answer is kind of probably that would be reasonable to do. Anyway, let's do what we actually are going to do today. So the goal is I've decided I want a different shape for the cutaway as it recedes up. I want it to recede away instead of coming towards you because I want to provide opportunities for like incidental understanding of what's going on upper floors, which can only really happen if it's receding away for reasons that will become obvious when I show it. Rather than it being angled towards you, so you can only see a little bit of information for each other floor. I think it would be better to make that incidental information potentially useful rather than just always totally impossible to see what's going on there. So we have this mask. What we need to do is we need to make an AABB from it, essentially. Or what we need to do is we need to extend the mask forward kind of indefinitely. I can kind of show you the problem. It's midway through me changing it, which I worked on last night but didn't finish, so it's not going to look right. But maybe it's better to have something to talk about. So if we make like a thing, make like a room or a series of rooms, whatever. Like this. All out the rooms. Like this. Okay, great. So let's start making... Let's break it up into a 3x3 grid here, because I think that's illustrative. So here's an obvious case of the problem, which is that like you literally can't see what you're doing. Because I'm mousing over this thing here, it's not cutting the whole thing away. Here it is, it's fine. I want this to recede back more. Currently, it's not really doing that. It's just kind of going straight up. So we want it to recede back. But then we want it to go out. I think I am back to maybe opening up more than closing in. Or I think I'm trying to be less precise about the cutaway. Because I realize it's too easy to make these weird bad situations that occur where you can't actually cut away everything in front of a compartment because that stuff might not be even in the compartment. It might be totally hidden. So I think we need to just optimize for the worst case. Which is that you have a bunch of exterior stuff on the outside of the ship that doesn't even belong to a compartment. Maybe it's an engine, maybe it's a weapon system. Like, that stuff wouldn't normally be cut away by the compartment system, so you just need to cut anything away that's probably going to be in your view. So we need to be a little more aggressive about it. And there's two ways we can do it. One is we just do it axis aligned, so we just go out at like a right angle from like the minimum of the bounding, or I don't know, the mask, whatever. We could use an AABB, or we could build a mask that's like a more precise shape. But either way, you need to just go forward. And you can go forward by, we could just copy the mask forward. Like, we could just move the mask forward each time and then do a check. Like, we could just project it forward. And that could be cool. That could reduce the amount of incidental cutaway that we don't actually need, which is something I do want to prevent while still making things very readable. Let's do that just because we have that. We have the mask. What we don't have is a bounding box. And I don't even think a bounding box is like a workable solution because we might deal with shapes that aren't easily captured by a bounding box. So let's do that. So what we're going to do is we will do this. So how are we going to iterate through this then if we're projecting this mask forward? We need to do a lookup. Right now I just have a simple offset that changes as we go up, but what we need is an offset that changes as we move forward. The mask itself is just built out of the coordinates. Hey, Diginanigans. Well, let's do the receding thing I'm talking about, and then we can talk about, and then we can do the other thing. So what I should see when I do this sort of thing yeah, this is what I want to see. I want to see this thing recede backwards. It doesn't work quite right at the top, but that's because we're taking the whole mask and we're receding it backwards, but we're not also projecting it. We're not like stretching it out. Stretching it out's not the right word. We're not like doing that offset, but this kind of terraced back look is kind of what I want, but I want it to start a little farther forward. So I don't like this the little joint that we get here at the corner. I don't like that joint. So I want to move that whole terrace thing forward by 1. And that doesn't seem to be happening. You need to pick the right direction to go. I think we're going to do something fun this weekend. I think we're going to do a Void War playthrough. I think I'm going to start doing some like let's play streams, but first only really specifically for games that like are relevant to what we're doing. So it'll be in that like critical lens that we'll be viewing it. But I think that'd be fun. It kind of takes precious design time away that I have budgeted, which is like my stream time, but okay, so that's too far that way. So I do want to pull it back by 2. But I don't get the right behavior when I do that. So why is that not true? So -2. Does this behave badly when it flips into negative? Is that probably what's happening? Yeah, so it doesn't... So as soon as... Plus vector 2... I think something weird is happening when we flip into negative. Sounds good. Helps take a break from getting stuck on the same task as well. Yeah. Hey, what are you saying? Are you saying I'm stuck on this? I just keep thinking of it aesthetically and from a user interface standpoint, and something will like look nice to me in the moment, and then I'll think about the implications of it for the user, and I'll be like, no, we can't do that. Or I'll think about the implications of it for the design, and I'll be like, I can't do that. I feel like the vast majority of game design is trying something and then deciding that you don't want it. Yeah, so we can't ever move over by 1. Why is that not true? I want to shove this over 1 more, like 1 closer to us, which I guess would be the other way. It would be like, I want to move this wall 1 forward so that the second floor sits just over the floor that we're looking at rather than being kind of terraced backwards. And then I wanted to start terracing away from us. And that's just so if you look over, if you're like cutting into a ship and you see a bit of action in a floor above you, you might actually have some chance of seeing what's going on up there. We're getting an indication of something. And I think that would be good. You're saying it from the perspective of someone who knows all too well how the motivation can drain when working on something for a long time. Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. It ebbs and flows, you know. I've talked about before how we are leaning into the habit of it sometimes. There are some weeks where I just don't want to work on this, but we've built enough habit that we still do it. We still show up every day and we do it. All right, so no matter how big I make this number, it's not doing the thing that I would want. So there's something we need to do to shift that first layer over. And then we can do whatever after that, but we just got to take care of that first layer. I don't want to have it be its own case. We'll just figure out how that curve looks, or what that formula looks like. It's maybe too small a test area for this, but maybe not. Yeah, the foreground is getting messed up, but that's for obvious reasons. Because this block, this wall here, this is considered part of the mask to cut away. And so kind of no matter what I do, it wants to go away. But I'm unable to create an offset that just kind of works. How's your stuff going, though? Your shenanigans? Why does it go straight up like that? It should be going in a direction, you know? That's like what I'm telling it to do, right? If not block mask dot contains the offset only, sure. Oh. No, that makes sense. My heart pandas. Happy birthday. Thank you. It's not my birthday, but thank you. Happy stream or happy subscription. 8 months. 8 month streak. That's great. Really appreciate that. We're doing some really boring stuff. We're doing some more occlusion culling kind of stuff for tiles. I've picked an aesthetic I want, and now I'm just trying to get the formulas right that will get us there. Which I don't have a big brain, so I usually just pick I just usually keep tweaking the formula until it does what I want. I have a hard time thinking about it. So here's this. So ignore the right side. The right side, I understand why that's doing that. But the left side, we want this kind of terrace away look. I know we've said in the past we don't want it, but I think this gives the best view into the upper levels. So you might incidentally see something. Problem is, I need to fix what's happening at the bottom, which should just be an offset. The problem is when I do the offset, it doesn't... Oh, I know why. All right. Let's get the offset to the right spot here. I think that should be -2. You just need some background noise. That's what I do. Generate noise. Happy to do that for you. Okay. I think I understand what's happening. I don't think there was a problem with the formula per se. It was a problem with the conditional below. It was comparing a couple of things there. And one of them was always turning out to be true. Or whatever. I think that's it. We'll take care of that. All right, so this is the terrace I want. This terrace effect on the back there. In the background. That's what I want. So then we actually have a window into these upper levels. I just want to shift it forward one. So what we need to do, so there, it's this. It's the if not block mask contains the offset only. We need to not do that. That was a solution that I had for a solution I was trying out, but I have an alternative solution in mind. And so we need something there, but it's not going to be that. Yeah, that's why we can't actually see what I'm doing. But I think it's right. So now we need the part where we copy the mask forward or we project it forward. So we can actually hide this stuff. Now, how do we want to do that? We need to do a loop in here. I don't want to do a loop for every coordinate though. It would be a lot easier to just do this with a bounding box. We could. There's no reason for the mask to just be two-dimensional. We could do it. We could try to do it like that. So what if... What if after this step we did something? We could say third pass to mask. Forwards. Mask above and in front of, or to extend the mask upwards and forwards towards the camera. With a terrace recession backwards. I don't know. So for that, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to say for Z, well, here, what we can do is we can say, we've got cursor core. We can do the loop from down here. So this will go upwards, and now we just need to handle forwards. Well, we also need to do the forwards part. So no, I guess we actually want Z to be just cursor chords.z. And this is where we start to do these offsets. So the vertical offset is cursor chords. Do we actually need the vertical offset? We just need to handle the horizontal offset, don't we? And we have two different, so we have like a lower bound offset and an upper bound offset. So what we're gonna do we're essentially taking this cutout and we're moving it forward. And so really all I need to do is I need to check the edges each time. But that's not easy to do. This is kind of why I want to do this with just an axis aligned bounding box, which may not be perfect. But it would be something. So we're going to do this for each Z level. So the vertical offset is that as we go up, we want to go backwards. And that's this. That's the cursor chords.z minus z. Shenanigans there. You just took the time to make yourself a proper lunch for once. You have a bad habit of skipping it or snacking on chips or something. Nice. Yeah. I eat these enormous breakfasts, so I can kind of just forget about food for a while. Let me double check that what we've got as far as this terraced recession thing is what we want, because it's the basis of what I'm going to do next. Oh yeah, I can't F and C. I really can't see. But I think it is what I want to do next. Sophoculus. Welcome in. You want to make games too? Just do it. All it takes is a lot of hard work. It's easy. You just gotta agonize over it for, you know, years. You don't have to do years. You can make games in less than years. Especially just to start. Yeah, pick an engine that seems like it can do the things you want it to do. Just start working. That 2 is doing a lot of work in your comment too. I want to make games too. We've been working on tools for so long, I feel like I've forgotten how to make games. All right, so yeah, I think better, rather than trying to reinterpret the mask, I think it would be better to just extend the mask to be three-dimensional. Because right now it's just the lowest level, and we're just trying to reuse it. But I think as long as we keep doing it this way, what we should do is we should build the mask out explicitly. Just with this. Okay. You know, we could just get... Here's what we could do. We could just get the mask. We could just go through all the coordinates in the mask, find the ones at the lower edges, and then just extend them by 1. And then do it again. And that would just, we would just extend until we'd filled out everything. That's not like efficient, but it would probably work for the moment. The thing is, I would need to copy the mask up. So we would need to say, so instead of this for I thing, we could try to say for each vector 3i coords in block mask. We could say if coords.z is not equal to z, continue. Otherwise, now we want to get a bunch of the neighbors. x equals towards plus vector 3i dot left vector 3i negative y equals chords dot. We could do negative z. I don't love the vector 3i dot left, vector 3i dot down, vector 3i dot forward. I kind of want to rename these to something like instead of left, I kind of want z, like vector 3i dot, or not z, vector 3i dot x, and then I would either add it or subtract it depending on whether I wanted the positive or negative. I feel like that's a lot easier than trying to remember, okay, so is forward in Godot 3D space negative or positive? In Godot 3D space, it's negative. And then like vector 2i dot down is positive, but vector 3i dot down is negative. Because in 2D, down is up, but in 3D, down is down. But forward is also back? I don't know, it's confusing. So yeah, I want to get away from this. I don't know if I want to do the 3D, if we want to extend upward like this. Vector 3i positive x towards plus vector 3i dot right. So what if we did it like this? What if we were crazy and we said something like if block mask contains positive x we could say, so if either of these contain this, we could say, well, we kind of want to know which one, huh? Oh, no, it's both. We don't want positive x and positive y. We want positive x, y. Similarly, we want... Actually, we want negative x and negative y and negative z, but we only want positive x, y. And it's actually do vector 3i. Yeah, see, here I could even have vector 3i dot xy. And that would just be 1, 1, 0. That'd be nice. Save that for refactor week, right? And so if block mask doesn't contain this, if I modify block mask in this loop, that's not going to add coordinates to this list, I'm pretty sure. Will it though? Will it though? It would though, wouldn't it? Diginanigans, you tend to remember it by the fact that 2D is a flat surface and you read from top down, left to right. As you increase Y as you read further. That's reasonable. Whereas in the 3D world, as you increase Y, you get further from the ground. How eminently reasonable. So if I add to an IEnumerable, will it add that to the enumeration? Or does it just handle the enumeration, figuring out all the enumeration first? I feel like that's not how that works. Let me see. What do I have that enumerates? An AABB does. So my enumerator, the way I've written this is it's like Yield return new. Okay, no. So at least this one wouldn't, the way I've written mine. I don't know if the way they've written hash set, it would. I guess I could look. Like if I modify hash set in an enumeration, that shouldn't affect the enumeration. I don't think it should. I collection. So it's an I collection. That's where it gets its enumeration from. I enumerable methods. Get enumerator. I enumerator. Empty. Otherwise get enumerator. Be nice if it told me the enumeration, but I probably need to... Oh, it's got this move next thing. Not sure. You tend to avoid doing that. I know. Look, I'm not saying what I want to do is smart or good. I'm just wondering if I could. It looks like I shouldn't because it has a, because this does the move next implementation. So if I add to it, if I add to it while I'm using it, it looks like I would probably then spit that back out to me. So yeah, I should write to something else. And then write it back at the end if I need to. Just to be good. Do I really want to do it this way though, is the real question. I wonder if we do it this way. Instead of asking if the block contains, we could actually say, do I have the buffer here? I must, right? Blocks AABB. If blocks contains this and not block mask dot contains this. And we'll just add it. Is this warning me? Oh, is add just safe? Okay. Let's just add it then. I forgot the add is just a triad. Oh yeah, so we're modifying the collection in a loop of the collection. Yeah, that is bad. That is bad to do. So let's not do that. Let's do this. This way we actually at least don't have to do this coord Z thing. We can just very specifically operate only on... Let's say this. Let's say block coords. So this way we're just gonna... Hold on. We need to say if oh, this might actually be kind of nice the way we've got this going. This extension might be good. This doesn't handle... Let's do this a little bit. Let's do this one step at a time here. Let's forget about these. Let's just do this here. Let's do the simplest case of this. All right, so this is gonna copy. This doesn't handle the upwards, but this at least copies it forwards. Let's handle the upwards. Actually, we're handling the upwards down here, so we can just move that over later. So let's do the Z offset only here. Let's see if that solves that one obfuscation problem. Where, like, I can't see because things in front of me aren't being called correctly. And then we can handle the terracing and all that stuff if we can just get this solved. It's too far. Oh. Well, I don't know what's happening, but it's definitely not what we want. So why is this not working? Because you were never written to handle this. Oh. I'm double adding. Or how about we do this? Okay. It's mostly right. This part's not right. I might need 2 masks. So now it's doing this thing. You can't exactly see it. I can't exactly point to it, but you see this sawtooth thing that's happening? That's because instead of just cutting out straight out from that point just as far as we can see, I'm like projecting it forward. And I don't know if I love that look. I also think it might be a bit confusing as far as what's happening there. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's totally fine. If we don't do that, then we have just this enormous sideways cutaway, and then we get back to the thing I don't like, which is we're cutting away like half of the thing. Finding a rule-based system that's going to work in every situation is so hard. It's kind of maybe why the cursor-based cutaway was a little more elegant. But I didn't like it as much because it was just too busy, because it would just follow the mouse everywhere. I like having the idea of using compartments for the broad level and then cutting away the interior like this. I do think I need to make the interior cutaway bigger. And I definitely need to get these foreground walls cut down. If I add another one of these here. I think I can live with that sawtooth effect. I think I'm okay with that. I think I prefer that to the alternative where we're just cutting everything away. I do have to figure out something about the back walls, about how we're going to handle the back walls. Because right now this is just unintelligible. Why are the foreground walls not being cut away? So when we're in this section, we're in the initial loop, we say, or not, we say if block mask contains vector 3i forward and yeah. It's on the menu today. Hey, Fusionist. We're still waffling about how we want our cutaway system to work. I think I'm getting really close to my final solution here for it, but I would like to be done with this by like the end of the week. How are you doing? So this condition is being hit. That's to avoid cutting away inside the room. We maybe need more than one mask. It's a little frustrating. You're chilling-ish. You got your share of hotfixes for the game, less than anticipated, honestly. Man, that trailer you shared was so good. It was so cool. Elevator music. That is going to be so great. All right, so the thing we want to avoid is we want to avoid just cutting away all the interior walls of a compartment. Because then that's no good. Well, maybe we do want to do that. I don't really want to. Oh, maybe you do. Oh yeah, there's the issue of cutting away doors on accident. No, maybe this is working exactly as intended in that sense. What if I increase the interior cutaway? Fusionist, yeah, your animator made such a good job. That's the temp trailer. That is so good. It's incredible. All right, we're doing by 4. What if we did by 5? I have an idea. You have an article about your demo on PC Gamer? That's so cool. I'm gonna go look for that. If you ever wanted to play an NPC in a Hitman level, do I have the Steam Next Fest demo for you? Oh, you're doing Next Fest right now? That's awesome. Shenanigans, you're continuing to work on your 3D tile tool stuff. You're slowly getting there. Right now, you're basically creating the equivalent of a character creator, but for tiles. I'm right there with you, buddy. Mostly intended to test rendering individual tiles with various combinations of data. So good. Congratulations, Fusionist. Yes, I agree, Shenanigans. This is so cool. Way to get an article on there. Posted 4 hours ago. Next Fest was your big deadline. Seems like it's just a better way to launch a demo. Yeah, I've been hearing people talk about the different ways to launch a demo and some stuff you can do on Steam to like juice your demo beforehand. Okay, so I'm pretty sure I want these walls. Oh, I know exactly what I'm gonna do. I want these walls to be obscured, but no interior walls. So if there's like whatever going on inside here. Oh, but I don't want doors to be cut away. Maybe I do. We need to find some alternative for what happens when a door gets cut away, because right now it like literally disappears. Like if I have this door here and I cut it away, you just can't tell there's a door there. It almost just looks like an empty space. I need something that tells you there's a door there. And I need to figure out what that's going to be. So it needs to be something. Like if you're mousing in this room and these walls don't come down, it's just much harder to see what's going on in the room. So at least these ones need to come down, and then we'll do the same thing that we've got, which is the local cutaway. The local cutaway for within the room. But I need something to just happen to the door specifically. Fusionist, you were learning about those things with a team. It's an interesting part leading up to this. Yeah, I bet it was. All right, here's my idea. So we're going to make a new mask. Because I think the problem is we're mixing all this information together. I want to have like... So instead of just a block mask, there's going to be like a compartment mask. There's going to be a... I'm not sure about the adjacent mask. I don't know if we technically need that for what we're currently planning. But maybe we actually do. We probably do. Vector 3i. It's going to be an adjacent part. It's going to be an adjacent mask. So it's going to be the core compartment mask. And then there might be a bigger one, which is just the big block mask. Shenanigans, you would make the front walls be completely cut away, other than perhaps a tile or two. The doors, in your opinion, are fine. You could make a simple flat tile variant that's almost like a shadow, if that helps. Yeah, I'm just torn about that, because if we show the shadow of the door, it's like, do we also show the shadow of the wall? Probably. So it's probably less of a cutaway that we're doing and like an alternative rendering that we're going to use. Which is fine, because this is at the step of the auto tiler when you could do something like that. So instead of defining a cutaway for that purpose, you could define like an alternative. You like the local cutaway I have just for interior stuff? Yeah, me too. Me too. The trouble is for the more general case. We're going to say... call this 4-block mask. I don't know, whatever. We're going to try to do this in steps, or we're going to try to do this without just messing up the same, like the one. So let's replace this with compartment mask. So we'll say compartment mask.clear. We'll say adjacent mask. So this core piece is going to be the compartment mask. And then the second pass is going to be the adjacent mask. Do I want to like consolidate these to an extent? Probably not. Here's where we probably add it all together. We're going to say, if not, apartment mask, or, oh, we're going to say, if not that, and not adjacent mask. Shenanigans for the door. You could try and do it the same as you have for the walls, except dither the dark part so that every alternating pixel is transparent. Shows it's a non-solid edge. That feels like that would be very subtle, but we could try something like that. I do want to try doing some more dithering. I do like dithering as a thing. It's a little tough at my resolution, but maybe it would be perfect. Maybe it would be just enough information. Should this be negative or positive? AA. This might be a dumb question. Are you using nodes? You haven't seen me use the Godot editor at all yet. Hey, AA. Yeah, so we have an interesting system we've got. We do have a Godot editor. We have a scene tree. The trick, though, for us is that we're really just using Godot for, like, rendering and input and a lot of stuff. Right now, we're deep into the simulation layer of the game, and the simulation layer is off in .NET, kind of running in its own little entity component system. It's kind of divorced from the engine, just because we're doing a lot of work, and we're in, you know, the managed domain here because we're in C#. And I try to minimize the interaction between my C# stuff and the Godot engine just to avoid all the marshalling costs and everything. So we do a lot of stuff in here, and then we send only the information back to the engine that it actually needs for rendering and UI stuff. But how's it going? Welcome in. Sorry, I'm not showcasing the engine particularly well right now. We're solving a kind of annoying problem. All right, so I define this offset. Does the offset need to be positive or negative? It needs to be negative. No worries, no worries. Thanks for hanging out. Are you Godot dev? What kind of stuff do you work on, if so? I was like hearing about people's projects. So solve this. All right. So why do I have this as two separate things? Why isn't it just like plus the offset? Why did I write it this way? But big picture, we're working on like an isometric 3D version of FTL faster than light. Doing it in this kind of 3D, this fake 3D, causes us causes the wrong word. We have a lot of visibility problems to solve with 3D blocks blocking the obscuring the blocks behind them. So we're working on a cutaway system that makes it easy to peer into the ship and see what you want to see without seeing anything extraneous. And that's the thing we're fiddling over, because we've tried 4 or 5 different ways and each one has drawbacks. And so we're finally getting to a point where I feel, so we're trying some to mix them together to an extent so that we get all the stuff we want. We got all the characteristics we want. Kind of been an uphill battle. Just because it's not exact. Well, it's not an exact science what we're trying here. There's little issues that are either aesthetic or mechanical. If something might work, but it might not look great, so you're like, is it good enough? All right, so what we want to do, so we've got this offset. So my idea is we just take the compartment mask and we just move it up by 1, and that will keep us from rendering the back walls and make sure we render the front walls, but not the corners, the little tips on the side. So we're gonna try that to start. We can figure out the door problem later. Honestly, it might behoove me to just move the whole... Well, we just have to create an offset because we can't move the mask. Or we can't transform the entire mask the way I have it written. Although it might be worth coming up with a different... the mask itself could be a buffer. No, it's better to do it this way. This is short-lived data that we only need for a very particular purpose. So if the compartment mask doesn't contain the block coordinates with the offset, we just continue, sure. Oh, here we don't want contains. Oh. This is where I want to use an axis-aligned bounding box. Because what we want to say is, like, is it at the edge? Is it marginally contained? But I realize I don't have that tool available to me here. But that's what I want to ask. I want to ask if the thing is marginally contained. Maybe we don't do the offset then. And we have to just kind of keep doing the thing we did before. Yeah, this will work. This will work now. This part will work. That's fine. We don't have to do it that way. I don't want to check like 3 different... What we should do is we should just have a combined mask that has all of them. So like combined. So we can do the adjacent in the compartment. And then we need to combine it all down here. We do want to clear them all at the top, though. Oh, not that one. The combined one. So we want to add compartment mask dot add block coords. Oh, combine mask. Autocomplete is so bad. It's like occasionally it like knows what I want, but most of the time it is just tremendously wrong. Okay, so we do this. We check the compartment here on the Z level. Oh. We want to do this for the adjacent as well. I don't want to do this whole check for both. Oh, I don't like this. I don't like what I'm about to do. Problem is, so I've got the compartment. There's the compartment you're mousing over, and then there's the compartments immediately in front of. And I phrase it as the adjacent compartments, but what I should call it is like the compartments that are like within a certain distance forward. But, you know, let's just forget about those for right now. Let's forget about those right now and not worry about them. So this only works for the core compartments. Oh, man. I'm not pleased with how I've kind of painted myself into a corner here. What if we just got this working with bounding boxes and then came back and decided if we wanted to do a mask instead? That would be so much easier. It wouldn't look like what... Well, it would look like what I want. All right. I want to try something. I'm going to try something and see if my life would be a lot easier with it. Because I do want to go away from this thing that I'm doing where we build up these compartment lists. That does have a fundamental limit to it. I would rather not deal with. And it would be avoidable if we just used bounding boxes. All right, so when we're doing the interior flood fill, we want to push back out an AABB. We could say out AABB bounds. We could say bounds equals new AABB initial. So whenever we set we kind of need to do that either way, huh? We could do it right here. We could say bounds dot enlarge. Oh no, that's for size. We want to say bounds dot resize. I should call this like expand or something. And it would be boards. So if we consider this block, or if we consider this coordinate during the interior flood fill, that becomes part of this AABB. And we're already returning visited as a span here. If we really wanted to, we could just build the AABB from the span that comes back, but don't exactly want to do that. I can think of so many ways in which this is going to fail. There's so many ways this would fail. Even if you just have like a weird nook in the room, it will fail. This whole thing. We're not going to do it this way. I was really tempted to, but we're not going to do it. It would be too... The hammer is not the right tool for this. We're going to go back to doing it this way and being annoyed by it. Because that I can work with. So we do the first layer, we do the Z layer, the initial Z layer, which is the layer of the compartment we're trying to look into is. We have all of this logic to handle that. Oh, I got someone to ban over on Twitch. Gonna do it. That'll make me feel better. Yep, that made me feel better. I think I want the adjacent. I'm going to say this adjacent. I'm going to call this like adjacent plus. Maybe and adjacent. Or contiguous. That's not better. And it's misspelled? Oh no, it's just not you. It might be misspelled. So we want to consider it under the single compartment mask, the actual cursor, the compartment that's under the cursor. We want to consider that. That's actually really easy to do. So we actually don't need this whole thing. We can say if not compartment mask.contains block offset. And we'll say, and not adjacent mask contains block offset. Okay, we're going to handle it that way. That's appropriate. Do I need to do this in multiple loops to handle the other stuff? We essentially have three different kinds of areas we're trying to mask, or we're trying to cut away under certain circumstances, and I can't evaluate them all at the same time. I don't think. I think we just need to eat the fact that we're going to need to do a few loops. Until I find some better way of doing it. You know, we don't need to iterate through every single coordinate though. This is where we can take some shortcuts maybe. So let's think about doing this in multiple passes and see how that makes things easier for us. Actually, let's just go through let's see if we can do this in one step. So we're going to go through the combined mask and we're going to utilize the other two. So we'll process every coordinate in the combined mask and then we'll look at the other two masks as qualifying things. Then we don't have to do this. Really have to do that. So we use this offset for the purpose of the compartment and also the adjacent blocks. So how many times do we need to go through here? So we don't want to cut it away. Okay, so we want to reverse the direction of this offset. We're gonna flip the conditions here. We're gonna say if the compartment mask does contain this block or contain this you just say offset. So if it is here, continue. If adjacent mask contains this offset, and we'll also continue.
You have reached the voicemail box of...
Otherwise, we're going to cut away. That might work for this, for at least the initial bottom Z layer deal.
Just wait for the tone.
And then as we go up in Z level, what do we do? We're already changing the block. Are we changing anything? No, we're going straight up.
Is not available right now.
Actually, we aren't even doing that, are we? Oh no, we aren't. We aren't doing that at all.
If you need further assistance, enter pound now. Please leave your name, number, and a message after the tone.
What is this song? What's this voicemail thing? Oh, the song is literally called Voicemail. Sorry, I'm getting agitated. We're chill. This is a chill stream. We're hanging out. There are no problems. We're just happy accidents. I'm like a mouse in a maze. I've made too many turns, and now I'm like midway through trying this multiple different ways. I'm just trying to detangle myself here. Luckily, I have some time after the stream. Later on tonight, where I can maybe take another crack at this. But we're still working on it. We're still working on it. So we're doing our third pass to extend the mask upwards and forwards towards the camera with the terraced recession backwards. All right, I want to try this a couple different ways. I want to say for each set of coordinates in compartment mask. So I want to go through the compartment mask, and then I want to generate this offset, and then I want to say the compartment mask doesn't have We're going to go through this mask by mask is I think what I'm going to do. So forget about that. Okay, here we go. So we're doing this. We're going to try this again for each vector 3i towards an adjacent mask. Use the same offset for now. Do the same thing. And we'll do one more. Say for each. Oh, we can't do it by coordinate like this, can we? Oh, we could. Then we can do it one more time. We can just do, just gonna go through each one. We're gonna say if compartment mask contains, God, the autocorrect has no idea what I want. There we go. All right, we're gonna try this. We're going to see what this gives us. It's not going to give us the correct thing, but hopefully it's in the right direction. All right, it looks like it's working within a given Z level, but the stuff above is not working. Probably because we're not extending the combined mask upwards yet. I think we're only going, well, I don't even know if we're going forward, but let's go upward first. Upward is good. So the negative Z component, we got to start doing that. We got to say, let's say whether, well, let's greater than or equal to 1. Can we do that? This isn't going to work the way I expect it to here. This part doesn't make sense. All right, we aren't doing anything to extend this forward. Let's at least focus on extending it upwards. This is not going to do it for us. We can say don't know what this is going to do. I don't think it's going to do the right thing, but it might pop the ceiling off for us. It did not. I just want to start with that. I just want to start with something simple. So cursor chords dot z minus z. Well, for one thing, we don't want to start there. We want to start here. Oh, we're not even attempting to add that. We can say if z is less than or equal to 0. Well, we could say if it's less than 0. Or greater than 0. And we can do this upwards thing. You forget all about this for now. Let's just only do one thing at a time right now. Here we go. This will do it for us, I think. Let's not worry about any of this other stuff right now. I might have the numbers backwards. That would be something I would do. We'll see if we crash. Oh. Okay, we didn't crash. We're not really doing anything though. So z gets smaller and smaller until it becomes 0. So when we're offsetting, so we're higher up. Oh, we don't do an offset when we're trying to add the... I'm dumb. We just add the coordinates themselves. Still not there yet. Gonna take some steps backwards before we can go forwards, I guess. I really hope it's not the case that we're like correctly building the mask and then like not using it for anything. I'll try flipping it, see if that works. Nope, still nothing. Okay, that makes me think the problem is elsewhere. So we add all of these to the combined mask. Oh, we also need to... We actually need to go from here, don't we? We need to go from z equals cursor coords. That's maybe our problem. Because we need to build the combined mask first. Lol. That might have been the problem right there. We might have been starting a level too high. I mean, certainly not our only problem, but that could be amongst them. I do truly believe the visualization, the player's ability to navigate and visualize this world is like the paramount problem to solve right now. Which, oh, well, it was seemingly not significant. So now we try the other thing. I mean, we could just give up and use the cursor-based cutaway, but I don't want to. I'm gonna make this happen. All right. So the problem is not here, because if the problem was here, one of the things that I did would have caused a difference. Okay, so we're building our mask. So let's just double check this. So we've got all this. We go through, we start at the cursor coordinate z level, and we go up, which is down. We work our way up to 0. We grab our coordinates for this block. Oh, we're not recalculating our start and our end, are we? We are not. Oopsies. That's a problem. We need to recalculate these. Well, that's definitely possibly part of the problem. With z equals z. All right, well, let's see what that does. We weren't actually going up in the buffer. Oopsies. It's a silly mistake to make. All right, okay. That was the problem. Oh. Well, here's a silly problem as well. We're cutting away everything in here, which is not what we want to do, but that's fine. Let's fix that part, which should be relatively easy to fix. All right, I think we're building the combined mask correctly. At least we're just going straight up. We'll build it out in a more complex way soon, but we're doing the simple thing first. So we're going for each set of coordinates in the compartment mask. Oh, this is the opposite. We want if compartment mask contains, if adjacent mask contains, the offset is negative. So we are looking at a point, we're saying, are you part of... We want to look the other way. Yeah. That should solve the interior thing. All right, okay, so we're not cutting away our own thing, and we're not cutting away interior walls anymore, or columns or whatever. We're only cutting away this outside deal. Which, I don't like this part. I don't like this corner thing. It's not how I want to do this. Why does that do that? Oh, because we're looking... I'm looking... I don't think I'm looking in the right spot. Oh, no, I am. 110. Thinking about how that shifts. That is how that works, huh? Okay, I can live with that for now. Let's try that again and check the adjacents. I don't love that. I would like the corners pieces here to not be cut away like that, but I can hang. And so if we've got adjacents, it should still work generally. Oh, that actually might... No, that's gonna look weird. Well, we'll figure that out. Okay, and what if I just put stuff in here? How does this behave? See, what I don't like is the way other walls kind of disappear here. So why? Oh... That's unfortunate. I'm thinking I might actually want to make a mask for each compartment. I think each compartment maybe wants something like that. That would be certainly easier to deal with. Yeah, there's awkward issues here. Oh, we just hit ads. Okay, we can deal with this. See about these weird shapes though. Like if you just start making weird shapes, weird things start happening. Like this is interesting. Whatever's going on here. Cuz this is adjacent. And this is also adjacent. So what a strange... Shenanigans, another aesthetic idea when you go back to playing with that. What about making the occluded walls still render about 2 pixel tall or so? Make it feel less like a giant open room, still visible. Maybe. Like the half wall thing. Half walls could be okay. There's a consequence of doing that, which is you essentially have another set of Z tiles. Or you either have another set of Z tiles or you like render them on at like an offset. I might be trying to get too fancy with this. I feel like we maybe need to rethink our design goal with this. The intent is to make it easy for the player to see into the ship as far as they need to see. And to see the context around them. Not be too stifled, but also not to, like, erase too much of what they might want. I don't want you to mouse into like an engine room and all the engines disappear just so you can see the engineer behind the engine, right? Like, I want you to be able to see that engineer if you need to, if you feel like it. You could also rotate the camera around and look at him from another side, but I also don't want to totally wipe out. Take away the distractions. I don't understand why the corners aren't solid. Now that I think about how this works. Corners should be solid. Different versions of the tiles that are basically wireframes. I'm thinking about that, especially from the door, from the standpoint of the doors. Transparency might be the thing to do. Problem is you have to be very careful that nothing is overlapping, because if you do semi-transparent tiles and any of them overlap at all, there's like a catastrophic weird like graphical issue that you'll see, because you'll just get lots of weird little checkerboard things. I'm kind of sold on the idea of having the terraces, though. I do like that idea of it going up and away. I know I liked it coming towards you and being like an acute angle, so it would be like it would come kind of over your head a little bit, and you could see a little bit of how many layers down you were looking. I do like the idea of making it an obtuse angle so that it terraces away from you and you can see a bit of those other layers, but that has its own problems. And that's beside the whole how do we look into the compartment issue. I want to deal with this corner cutting thing, because the corners are being cut here and I don't understand why. Oh, is it because of this? It's because we're not considering... We need the offset here, or it doesn't make sense. That probably explains the weird corner cutting issue, at least. I should probably do this a little differently. Should probably define this out here. I think I'm sticking with this mask thing because I like the flexibility of the shape. It's not limited the way an axis align bounding box is. Like it can capture more complex shapes. I think I'm pretty sold on that, on using that for this purpose. I'm tempted to define one for each compartment and to just hold it in a buffer. Why didn't that fix the thing? I thought that would have fixed the thing. Why are these corner pieces getting cut off? I mean, I know why they're being cut off. Just wondering how I can model this in a way that they don't. Oh, I think I have an idea. Then we'll probably wrap it up for today after I try this out. And we'll pick it up again tomorrow. I would really like to have this sorted out by like Friday. Because I want to do something else on Saturday. I want to play Void War on stream. I think that'd be fun. But I would like to be done with this phase first. Yeah, okay, so what I think I've got to do... I need to do 2 comparisons. Appreciate everyone hanging out. Kind of just bash my skull against the wall here. Some days it feels like you gain yards, and then other days it feels like you're fighting for every inch. And then even yet other days it feels like you've given up a bunch of ground. That's okay. It's game dev. That's pretty much anything. Working on anything complex. don't want to do block comparisons. That might be how I have to do this. Yeah, we could do a little different. We could do it a little different. We could say if compartment mass dot contains quartz plus set. Could also ask if compartment mask dot contains quartz plus vector 3i. Oh my god. Nerds! What up, nerds? How's it going? Alright, we're stashing our changes so we can show what's going on here. What up, nerds? How's it going? I was about to end. I have a meeting in 10 minutes, but we can hang out for a minute first. You need tiles in your life? We've got tiles. We've got tiles. Hey, Fody. The average goob. What up? Double raid. I know, Lucas Code. Sometimes that's what happens. Well, hey, nerds. How's it going? I'm Dave. Digital Iliad here. We're working on like an isometric 3D take on FTL faster than light. So we're working on all the things involved in that. There's a lot of issues of visibility, of managing this fake 3D space that we have and rendering it correctly using just tile maps. Get this kind of pseudo 3D pixel art look. So that's what we do most days. Work on our auto tiling logic and all that stuff. Hey, artist nerd. Diginanigans logic's getting refined. It's all there. Theoretically, just need to map it from rendering 2D to 3D. You're just trying to start playing with your primitive 3D version of your tiler. Keep having to go back to the single 3D block, and from there back to the 2D test. Yeah. Something about changing dimensions is just hard. It's just a hard thing to do. All right. I feel bad doing this, but I do have a meeting in 10 minutes. So, you know, we're going to let it ride into Covino, who I hope is also nearly done. So we can just keep going forward. I feel bad. Normally I would hang on for another while, but let's get this train going. Yeah, let's do it before we lose too many people. Cats on keyboard, good luck on your meeting. Thank you. Yeah, I stream for a few hours in between my day job. And it's nice, but it also means that, like, I feel I'm kind of squished sometimes for time. And I can't extend the way I would like to. Don't feel bad. Thank you, Goob. I'm happy to take credit for this raid that's going to Covino right now. You were gone for a little and it's ended. I know. You love my art. Thank you. I would love to try to pronounce your name, but it's like 7 vowels. But thank you. Ao Yui. Thank you so much. Well, thank you all for watching. We'll be back tomorrow. Same time, same struggles. If you want to check us out then. But yeah, I appreciate it all for watching. Thank you so much, nerds, for the raid. I hope everything's going great in your zombie land, which, you know, things often are. It's a double raid. It is a double raid. Oh, you'll have company. We're going to go raid Covino. Covino's the best, making the greatest clicker game of all time. All right, we're raiding out. See you guys next time.